just can't get away. So what can you say for the typical chicken eater like me?
Grains and beans and fruit and greens.
But we like chicken.
This is the food that you must eat if you want to be the best on your feet. I said the grains and beans and fruit and greens. I made that up 30 years ago.
And chicken too.
No. No chicken, no corn, no cheese. Those are the 3 killers.
Chicken is a killer.
Chicken, corn, and
aspirations, goals, whatever you want to discuss that's going to help somebody get better. How's it going? Thank you very much for tuning in to Unlimited Power. My name is Edward Gills, and today I'm featuring Dr. George Love here on the show. If you don't know much about Dr. George, I'm not gonna let you know what he's about. I need to let him tell you what he's about, right? Because I don't want to mess anything up, right?
That's a good setup.
That's definitely a great setup. So how's everything going? How's your day been going today?
It's been a beautiful day. It's been an absolutely gorgeous day. Every day I teach Qigong at the beach, and then I go for a swim in the ocean.
Well, that's how I met you, you know.
Exactly.
I'm there. Exactly. I used to be there a lot more often when I used to see you every day. And I spoke to someone who attended your class, and what she told me about your class and your movement and you was just awesome, you know. And I just like that type of vibe.
Thank you.
So why don't you tell us a little bit more about what you did earlier and what you do as a acupuncturist, doctor of Oriental medicine, if I may say. And
well, first of all, I was 19 years old. I was in the United States Navy during the Vietnam War. And my bunkmate injured his knee.
Right.
So I rubbed my hands together and I put my hands on his knee and his pain went away. The next morning there was 2 guys standing outside my bunk, sore shoulder and sore neck.
Yeah.
And so I did the same thing on them. And the next thing you know, there's a line of 15 people waiting for me to heal them. So I got this reputation as Brother Love, the healer. Love is my real name, by the way. I didn't change it. So when I got out of the military, people suggested that I go to school so I could legitimately touch people as opposed to just healing them.
Right.
And then 7 years later, I went to acupuncture school, and then 3 years later, I got my doctorate in Chinese medicine. So it's been a journey all along the way. And then I ended up going to Africa, to Morocco, to study shamanism with a Moroccan shaman. And then 5 years later, I went to Togo to study shamanism with a Togolese shaman. And then I came back to the United States, and then I met Sun Bear, and I became a Native American shaman. So in addition to being a doctor of Oriental medicine, a teacher of Chinese medicine and acupuncture, and a compounding herbalist, and the author of 10 books, I'm also a shaman in 3 different traditions. And I'm also a Qigong master in a particular lineage called the Blue Dragon Qigong lineage, Blue Dragon Immortal Qigong. And that's how you and I met at the beach where I was teaching this. So in 1994, my master called me and said, I'm going to die in 90 days.
Wow.
And I want to transmit my family lineage to you so that you can continue teaching. And I was not particularly thrilled at that moment. I wanted him to give it to somebody else.
Right.
And he says, no, you are the one, you're the chosen one, you have to be the one to teach. And I flew up to New York to see him to try to talk him out of it. And he convinced me to take this lineage and to continue teaching it.
Good morning. I'm Dr. George Love of the Blue Dragon Immortal Qigong Academy. And people ask me all the time, why do you do Qigong? What is the purpose? What makes it important? Why do you say that Qigong will save your life? Well, the answer comes from the lack of information that we have about our bodies. You can go 40 days without foods with no damage to your internal organs. You can go 14 days without water with no damage to your internal organs. But you can only go
4 minutes without air. So breathing is the single most important thing you can do. Now, if I ask 10 people on the street, what is the composition of air? Not one of them will tell me that air is 79% nitrogen and 20% oxygen. Did you know that?
Those exact numbers? No, I didn't.
So nobody knows that air is only 20% oxygen.
Nobody knows.
Now, 79% nitrogen, how come we don't know what nitrogen is and what nitrogen does in our bodies and why nitrogen is good for the soil? So there's so many things that I think should be common knowledge, and that's what Qigong is. Qigong is understanding the role that you play in your environment.
Right.
Okay? Now, when you breathe in, how does the oxygen get into your blood? It doesn't. It's only when you breathe out that oxygen gets into your blood. So, when you inhale, does your lungs expand or do they contract?
Oh, I'm too busy inhaling right now.
Right.
I'm just listening to you. Continue on.
So most people, when they breathe in, they go, they suck their stomachs in when they breathe in. But when you blow into a balloon, does the balloon collapse or does the balloon expand?
It definitely expands.
So when you breathe in, your stomach
It should go out.
should go out. But 95% of people suck their stomach in when they breathe in. So that means nobody is breathing properly. So if breathing is the single most important thing you can do,
Right.
and 95% of the population is not breathing properly, then what does that say about our health?
We're walking dead.
We're walking zombies.
We're
Exactly.
walking. I think that show got inspired because we don't have the oxygen.
We don't have enough oxygen in our blood. Now, do you think all the doctors learned that in school? There's 50,000 MDs, minimum.
50,000.
There's 50,000 MDs in the United States, at least. All the nurses learned that. All the occupational therapists learned that. There's a ton of medical professionals that learned how to breathe and how important breathing was to your blood to purify it. And yet that hasn't trickled down to the general population. So you have to ask yourself, why? Now, while you're pondering why, do you know where your solar plexus is?
Your solar plexus. I can't even not pronounce that word, Dr. Love.
Okay. The solar plexus is the muscle that pushes the air out of the lungs.
Okay.
So when you exhale, the solar plexus pushes up. Now, here's your stomach. Here's your pancreas behind your stomach.
Okay.
The liver is over here. The spleen is over here. The kidneys are back here. So when the solar plexus pushes up, it gets the pancreas and the stomach and the spleen and the liver. Wow. All your organs are right there. So every time you breathe out, it massages. Now when you breathe in, the lungs expand. They push in on the heart and down on the kidneys. And as the solar plexus drops, it pushes down on the small and large intestines. So the very act of breathing massages your organ. And this movement opens up the ribs, so it expands the ribs. So it increases the lung capacity to hold air. And as we know, air is only 20% oxygen, 79% nitrogen, and 1% inert gas. And the lungs is what purifies the blood. So the more air you get into your lungs, the more oxygen can go into your bloodstream.
Besides, I was watching one of your YouTube videos and it was organ massage. Can you tell us a little something about? I thought that was very interesting.
Okay. So what I was saying earlier about the placement of the stomach and the pancreas,
Yes.
and the spleen, the liver, and the kidneys.
Right.
So what we do, as you breathe out, we push in on the organ. and then we visualize a color. So the color of the liver is green, the color of the heart is obviously is red, the color of the lungs is white, the color of the spleen is yellow, and the color of the kidneys is blue-black. So we can do a color visualization to turn dark green into emerald green, to turn gray into pure white,
Right.
to turn dirty yellow into bright yellow, and maroon red into bright red. So you do a color visualization while you put your hands on the organ and you press in and breathe out at the same time. And that's how we do organ massage. Now, every night when you're going to sleep, you should massage your organs. And every morning when you wake up, you should massage your organs. Now, we all take a shower in the mornings, hopefully. Some of us are smart enough to take a shower at night.
I had to check.
So we take a shower to wash off the dead skin, but what about an internal shower? What do we do to assist the internal function of the body? We do nothing for that.
That's
okay?
True. That is true.
Now, you know that you have a lymphatic system. You may not know exactly how it works, but most people know that they have a lymph system.
Right.
So the lymph system is always filtering, filtering, filtering. And it's like a network, like a web through the entire body.
Right.
Now, the only way the lymph system works is through muscular contraction of the legs. So unless you walk, run, jump, ski, spin, swim, dance, jump rope, unless you do something active, your lymph system is like, is not really functioning, okay? Now the lymph system sends the dirty water to the kidneys and the dirty solids to the large intestine. So there's an actual push. Now what controls the lymph system is the spleen.
Right.
Most people don't even know where their spleen is, and most people don't know that the spleen has multiple functions. The main function is to run the lymphatic system. The second function is to run the digestive system. And the third function is to manufacture red and white blood cells in the bone marrow and send them up to the thymus gland for weapons and armor. That's a really big deal. And yet, Western medicine says, oh, you don't really need a spleen. If you're a football player and you puncture your spleen with a broken rib, we'll just cut it out. You'll be fine. Oh, you don't need your tonsils. We'll just cut them out. Oh, you don't need your appendix. We'll just cut it out. Well, all those three organs are part of your immune system, which is controlled by the spleen. So Western medicine, who's supposed to be protecting our health,
Right.
has no clue that the spleen controls the tonsils or the appendix. So I think that's critical.
It sounds critical. But by the sound of it, everything that you just told me right now is all going in the gut. And I'm a personal trainer, right? And the biggest thing I hear is, I want to get rid of this gut. Now, a lot of people don't understand that this gut that they have is not just a big bundle of fat. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of cleansing that needs to be done in there. So what practical, very practical, straight to the point advice could give to somebody watching right now to just clean out your, the gut, where you said all your organs are?
Okay, so number one, you need 8 pounds of healthy bacteria living in your gut. Healthy bacteria. Now, if you die, there's bad bacteria. But if you're alive, you need good bacteria. And the thing that feeds the good bacteria, we call it probiotics. So acidophilus. Now, what makes acidophilus, before they invented acidophilus pills, was fermented foods. So sauerkraut and yogurt and cheese. So anything that's fermented, and believe it or not, wine.
Wine.
Grape skin extract from wine promotes healthy antioxidants. Now, what is an antioxidant? Well, oxidation is the act of oxygen escaping. Another definition of Qigong is super oxygenation of the blood. So oxidation is escaping, oxygenation is putting it in.
Right.
Okay? Now, if I take a really old book, like a 100-year-old book, the pages are brown, they're falling apart. That's oxidation. Now, I could take a new book and burn the edges and make it look like an old book. So by burning it, I oxidized it rather quickly. So as a human being, if you suffer from inflammation, which is burning up, then you are oxidizing yourself. You're letting oxygen escape by creating internal heat.
Right.
Now, Western medicine will agree that inflammation is the cause of all disease.
Right.
Wow.
That
They
is-
agree on one thing. Inflammation causes disease. So, what can we do about reducing inflammation?
It's crazy when you said this subject. There's so many, the veggies, right? Nutrition, right? How many of these nutritious, the foods we hate the most? You can talk about the Brussels sprouts, those, the
Asparagus.
the turmeric, the asparagus, the
Broccoli.
yeah. All of those reduces inflammation. So tell us, why don't you give us a couple of foods we should be eating right now? This.
Okay, so number one, you need to eat broccoli every single day. Number two, you need to eat beets every single day. Beets contain something called betaine, which is a ratio of minerals in the right proportion that humans need to replace. Because the daily stress of life leaches minerals out of the body. So magnesium, calcium, there's 19 minerals that we absolutely positively need, and stress just burns them right up. Inflammation burns them right up. So your gut, we put you on a 14-day juice program. And that juice consists of 50% celery, 25% carrot, 25% beet, ginger, turmeric. Okay? So celery, beet, carrot, ginger, turmeric. And if you want to throw some kale in there or some wheatgrass, that's fine too. So you're going to drink that juice for dinner for 3 nights. Then you're going to do it for breakfast and dinner for 4 days. That's our first 7 days. And then the next 7 days, you're going to do it 4 times a day for the next 7 days. That's your 14 days. Then we go to raw food for 7 days. Now we're at 21. And then we eat a balanced vegetarian diet for 7 days. And then we repeat that whole sequence 2 more times. Month program. And I guarantee you will lose a minimum of 30 and probably 45 pounds in 3 months.
Wow.
And you'll lose it all right there.
All right, so like we need to talk.
We need to talk.
Well, if you're watching this and you train with me, you need to come to Dr. Love. You know what I mean? Because that if nutrition is the biggest problem we have of solving, like that is a problem. You know.
You cannot exercise your way to good health. You need the diet
need the
and the
balance.
exercise, and you need the breathing, and you need the meditation. So you need all 4. So if you were going to build a pyramid, would you start at the top or would you start at the bottom? So you have to start at the bottom, and your pyramid is a square, and then you go up to the apex.
Start
Okay.
building up.
Then you start building up. So you've got to do your external exercise, you got to do your internal exercise, you've got to do your raw foods and your detox, and then you have to do your meditation. And then from there, we can build up to the apex where we align with the divine. And then you don't need a book to tell you what to do, because you open up your crown and you can connect directly to source energy.
To the main source.
To the main source.
It's
Exactly.
exactly. I feel like living to eat and dying to eat.
No.
I just want to get it right.
Eating to die,
Mm-hmm.
and living to eat. You should be eating to live,
Right.
but you're living to eat. Or most Americans are living to eat instead of eating to live. And so they're eating to die instead of eating to live.
And eating and nutrition is the medicine. Let the medicine be
Let
thy
thy medicine
nutrition.
be thy food, and food thy medicine.
I got that all wrong, but I tried. So you've convinced me. You know what? I'm not even gonna eat chicken today or tomorrow. I'm gonna eat all grains. You know, I'm more in a 70% grains in my foods, and if I include meat, it's about 30% of whatever I eat would be meat. But I do eat a lot of chicken now that I see it, and I try to stay away from the antibiotic chickens, but sometimes I just can't get away. So what can you say for the typical chicken eater
Okay,
like me?
grains and beans and fruit and greens.
But we like
This is
chicken.
the food that you must eat if you want to be the best on your feet. I said in the grains and beans and fruit and greens. I made that up 30 years ago.
And chicken too.
No. No chicken, no corn, no cheese. Those are the three killers.
Chicken is a killer.
Chicken, corn, and cheese. Those are the killers.